Hi, good morning everyone. Welcome on this blustery Friday to the next in the series of our webinars, I Need One of Those. So thanks for taking the time out. Hopefully everyone's got the Kit Kat, everyone registered early. So take a break, put your feet up, grab your coffee, and hopefully enjoy today's webinar. So very much in the sort of theme of our webinars, they're all about new and evolving technologies, disruptive technologies, things that we believe are leading edge, can deliver a competitive advantage, certainly trends, technologies to watch. And today's theme is in partnership with Lantronix, is all around out-of-band management, which is all around managing your remote networks, mission critical infrastructure, when maybe your production network's unavailable. So we think it's something that's quite sort of groundbreaking, certainly with what the Lantronix proposition has to offer. So I'm joined today by Alex Hollingworth. Welcome, Alex. Thanks very much for joining us today. Glad we can hear you now. So thanks for taking the time out to join us on this blustery Friday.
Not at all, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll start proceedings off. Conscious we're sort of started a little bit late. So a bit of background on Servium and really where this is relevant, particularly to our partnership with Lantronix and their proposition. And I'm not going to talk too much about it. Alex is the subject matter expert. So Alex, I'm not going to take any wind out of your sails, but really I think the theme for us is how Servium puts customers at the center of everything we do. And the purpose of these webinar series is really to inform everyone about, like I say, new technologies, things that we think can make a difference, certainly disruptive tech. So I think this is a great way we demonstrate a value add to our clients. And again, sort of to supplement that, you know, we've got a number of our account managers joining us today who are reasonably au fait with the Lantronix proposition. And you know, we do offer great account management. You know, at the end of the day, we walk in your shoes, so we can understand the pains that you feel on a day-to-day business basis. And our approach is very much understanding your challenge, no matter how small or large, and working with you throughout the life cycle of your particular requirements, from the strategy, design, implementation, support. But the key thing for us really is, once we've delivered something, let's review it, let's understand that we've delivered everything on time, to expectations, and so on and so forth. So we believe the review part is really, really important. And to help us deliver that, and certainly from the Lantronix proposition that we'll talk about shortly, is our services ecosystem. It's giving everyone access to tremendous breadth and depth of resource. So there's very little that we can't do when you have a business challenge, and you know, you've got access to all that resource. So when we look at our sort of pathway, our proposition, we break it into key technology areas, and today we're very much focused around networking. So before I hand over to Alex, just to say there'll be a Q&A session at the end. Once we've complete the webinar, you'll be able to ask the questions anonymously, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them straight away. If not, we'll certainly come back to you. And also we'll be taking a poll at the end, just while I'm wrapping up and summarising the session. So without further ado, Alex, hopefully you now have control. The floor's all yours, sir.
Well, hopefully I can move the screen and stuff. You can hear me now. So
yes, we can hear you perfect, loud and clear.
So, perfect. Well, thanks everyone for your time this Friday. To introduce briefly, my name's Alex. For the last 15 years, I've worked in a variety of different roles at IBM, Hitachi, Emulex, BNT, which was a networking startup that was acquired by IBM several years ago. And my experience in those companies has been around, yes, sales, but more so in product marketing, product management, pre-sales, technical, architecture roles. And most recently, before I joined Lantronix, I worked for Gartner, advising CIOs on emerging technologies and digital transformation as part of my role as being Senior Director of Product Marketing with those guys. I've been the GM for Lantronix here in EMEA for just over 2 years. And Lantronix, for those that haven't heard of us before, we're a publicly traded company. We're on the NASDAQ. We're profitable. We've got, although I'm sure modest compared to some of you guys, some of you customers on the phone, we've got $20 million of cash on hand, and we've been a going concern for the last 30 years, having been founded in 89. And the reason why I say this is because as you know, the market trend pushes more equipment to the network edge, there are more companies sort of popping up to service that need. And I've seen customers who have been burned when organizations that they've partnered with run out of cash or get acquired or whatever. And so the point really is, Lantronix is a steady organization. You know, our accounts are a matter of public record. And, you know, with 30 years in business, it's one of the reasons that we're trusted by a lot of our bigger clients. We service a lot of the Fortune 500. And so that's one of the reasons that, that Lantronix gets selected. So here we go. Next slide up. Right, so to help illustrate where Lantronix really fits and how we help our customers, something I hear a lot is, you know, we just need network insurance, you know, for business as usual, but for digital transformation efforts as well. And I dug into some research to talk about a bit on this call. Plus, I don't think it'd be right as an ex-Gartner person not to mention Gartner a little bit. So the bits of the research here are, you know, Gartner analyst Andrew Lerner noted recently that downtime cost usually cited is about $5,600 for each minute, meaning a single hour can cost a business more than 300K. Now, I'm not quite sure from an e-commerce standpoint if all of the customers on our webinar this morning would feel the same way about losing that amount of money in a single hour. I think it's fair to say, though, that for each you know, minute or hour that we experience a network outage, not only is there a potential of losing significant revenue, whether that's 300K or not, I don't know, but also there's the softer side of it, the loss of credibility, having a service you know, fall off the network and customers not being able to get access to information or data as needed. The Harvard Business Review and a recent survey of directors, CEOs and senior execs found that digital transformation risk is their #1 concern. And so as CIOs are looking to find ways to optimize costs, streamline processes and enhance the way that they interact with customers, what they see is quite a lot of these efforts fail. And fundamentally, it's because most digital technologies provide possibilities for efficiency gains and customer intimacy. But Harvard Business Review go on to say, if organizations lack the right mindset or architecture to change and the current organizational practices are flawed, digital transformation will simply magnify those flaws. And so kind of how I interpreted that interesting piece from Harvard Business Review was, you know, as we open up through digital transformation, new ways to interact with our customers, new ways to increase revenue and disrupt the competition, simply if once those strategies have been executed on, if the infrastructure isn't capable of recovering very quickly if there's a fault, that certainly that goes under the magnifying glass from an operational point of view. The Uptime Institute research survey said last year that potential outages are neither rare nor declining. So despite the fact we have all sorts of clever software and failover and all that sort of thing, outages are still prevalent within the environments that we work in with our customers at Lantronix. Causes of major outages still remain to be the network, power, and IT systems. So for Lantronix perspective, you know, the network is obviously where we sit, but also we connect to IT systems and PDUs and UPS systems, everything, so that admins can manage that equipment. So almost 80% surveyed said that they felt that they could have prevented the outage, and certainly I'd like to think that in a moment when I talk about Lantronix in a little bit more detail, you can see how we might help prevent an outage for your organisation. So the first thing I want to do really is say that yes, we have a whole portfolio to meet our customers' needs and protect against network outages. But first, I think it's important to tell you that in no way at all do we compete with Cisco. Quite the opposite is true, in fact. So Cisco actually exited the console management business about 5 or 6 years ago. They were much more interested in going after IoT and various other elements around their own product portfolio. And so when they exited the space, they actually selected 2 console management providers to be a preferred solutions partner for Cisco. Lantronix was one of those partners. And for any of you that, really the only part of the Cisco portfolio where we even rub up against a little bit is something called an ISR, so an integrated service router. So last year, the ISR 2900 was end of life, and there's a new product now called an ISR, I think 3400, 3900, something like that. But the point is, in order to get the level of connectivity that Lantronix can offer, because you have to purchase additional daughter cards for these Cisco ISR 3900s, actually it can cost as much as an additional $12,000 or $15,000 to connect up to 48 machines to the integrated service router that Cisco has. And so a lot of the customers that we speak to say that they don't really want to go down that road when they can achieve the same, and in some instances more, by leveraging Lantronix for about 25% of the cost. So in the short time that we've got together this morning, I'll touch upon our SLC 8000, our Secure Console Manager. I'll talk about our Branch Office Manager a little bit, and just touch on software that we have for both of those products, which is relevant to this particular space. So in the past decade, most areas of IT have gone through major transformation, as we all know. In the 2000s, IT admins may have managed 30 servers and multiple storage silos, and today virtual machines have proliferated into the data center, so that those same admins have to manage thousands of machines. Every field of IT has been transformed by virtualization, orchestration, DevOps, but the network remains old school. What I mean by that is, while other IT silos of servers and storage appliances collapse into converged infrastructure, the network remains separate. So if you're managing applications, automation techniques, server storage, the thinking goes you can always rely on a always-on network infrastructure to get to your systems, and thereby increase your scale and your efficiency in your day-to-day running of the business. However, if you're managing network infrastructure, you cannot rely on always-on network connectivity. Networking is different because it supports the automation efforts of other IT silos. So monitoring, managing, and repairing the physical layer of networking will certainly remain relevant in the long term. And that's why SLC 8000 and SLB were architected with Cisco and other network providers in mind. So in this diagram, we can see on the left, a normal local admin is able to connect, monitor, and manage through in-band means the networking equipment within the data center. Now, some organizations that we speak to consider the use of SLC 8000 being on the management network. They can define that sometimes as out of band. And it's out of band because the management network is segregated from the production network, and indeed the test network as well. And so some people consider that to be out of band. But what we've got here on the left is whether you consider the management network in band or out of band. You have a local admin connecting to equipment to connect, monitor, and manage that infrastructure. Now, if there's a problem, or in the case of a distributed network environment, if you need to remotely connect into something via the management network or whatever, that's fine. That's step one of the 3 steps. But if, for whatever reason, the network goes down, now that could be in a distributed environment, maybe in a retail environment, it could be because someone's unplugged the cable or turned it off, or you may have a denial of service attack, or someone has gone through the fibre outside, or indeed a junior network admin has plugged in a switch and caused a spanning tree broadcast storm, which has ground the network to a halt and has meant that you're not able to get into the switch to try to manage it because of the broadcast storm that you're going through. Quite often case our customers want a true out-of-band way to connect to the console manager, so that we're able to, again, connect, monitor, and manage the equipment that needs our help. And the way that we do that is 2 additional ways, really. We still have PSTN dial-up modem, which I always snigger at when I look at this slide, because there are actually some big customers that still use, believe it or not, internal modem for this. However, more and more frequently we see that our customers are using an LTE connectivity kit, cellular external gateway. So even in the event, as like I say, denial of service or broadcast storm, or just not being able to see the network at all, you always have a redundant path to log into your Lantronix console manager, whether that be SLC 8000 or SLB, and be able to find out what's going on and resolve that pretty quickly. So this is the SLC 8000. This is the Lantronix product that we have specifically designed for data centers and test lab infrastructure as well. It's a very compatible and dense USB solution. We interoperate with all of the big switching people, as you would expect: Cisco, HPE, Brocade, and other leading manufacturers as well. The big thing about Lantronix is we really believe in a modular approach to the way that we work with our customers. So, for example, in the back view of the SLC 8000, you can see on the right-hand side of the slide here, you'll see that you can start actually with 8 ports of RS-232 or RJ45 connectivity, and then as you need to, you can pay as you grow, if you like, and all you do is buy an additional module which slots in to enable you to have more connectivity. So that could be the same fabric type, so you could choose to have up to 48 ports of RJ45. Equally, you could have up to 48 ports of the USB connectivity, which a lot of the newer Cisco switches come with now. Instead of RS-232, RJ45, they come with mini USB connectivity. Or you can mix and match those fabrics, which means you can buy Lantronix infrastructure today for any sort of older Catalyst stuff that you've got in the data center, and if you were to roll out any newer Cisco equipment with USB, it's not a case of having to rip and replace anything. With Lantronix, we're your partners. We enable you to interoperate both fabrics and to pay as you grow, as you need to. We have excellent performance with this particular box, and I think this is important for a couple of different reasons. Number one, the performance is so good that actually in a test lab environment. So Brocade, Cisco actually used the SLC8000 to stress test their catalyst switches before they're shown. And so what typically happens is the SLC8000 is used to run test scripts on to stress test switches, and can be sort of stress tested for kind of 2 weeks at a time. And believe me, when you're 10 days into a 14-day test where you've been stressing a Cisco switch, what you don't want to do is have a performance problem where the script pauses and then you have to start the whole test plan all over again, and you lose another sort of 2 weeks to get things tested properly. Now, this test lab infrastructure example that I've just given you is certainly not typical, but I think it's important, because if there was ever a time that our customer's network did go down, the SLC8000 has the horsepower where up to 15 users can access and use a port simultaneously in order to get the service back up and running. Because just like in a test lab environment, the last thing that you want is any performance degradation when you need it most. And so when your network admins are trying to work on a problem, you want to make sure that they've got the headroom, the bandwidth to do that. And the reason why Lantronix has been selected not only by Cisco, but also by, as I say, Brocade, Symantec, IBM, Broadcom, HPE, the reason why all these companies select Lantronix internally to do their testing for their equipment is because of the performance that we have. Take the opportunity to talk about the cellular backup at this point. So with the LTE connectivity kit, we actually have the same modular mentality for this, which I think is important. So some of our competitors integrate the cellular connectivity for true out of band functionality into the box. And Lantronix, we don't think that's a good idea, and we don't think it's a good idea to integrate it into a box for 2 reasons. The first reason is, typically speaking, these units go into a rack, into a data center. That data center or data room could be underground. It could be amongst a lot of other noisy IT kit. And typically speaking, they're not always great for cellular coverage in those locations. And so with a modular cellular backup, you're either able to attach that at the end of row or on a wall somewhere or by a window or whatever, so that you can ensure that when you need it most, you've got a good level of service coverage to be able to support the problem. The second reason why we take the modular approach for our LTE backup is because we've seen at Mobile World Congress a couple of months ago in Barcelona talk of 5G, and some providers even talking about 6G. And whilst today 4G LTE is perfectly fine, it may come to pass that in 12 or 18 months, a customer may want to deploy 5G technology to support cellular backup, in which case, again, we're not going to make you rip and replace all of your console managers, in which case you'll just be able to replace the cellular module in order to get a new technology. So again, we work with you to make sure that your investment dollars are protected. SLB is part of our out-of-band management family as well. It's our branch office manager. It has 8 console ports, which are all RJ45, and it has 8 integrated PDUs at the back of the device as well. So this is important because in branch office locations, it can be quite useful sometimes to do, the usual, right? Turn it off, turn it back on again in order to resolve a problem. So you'll be able to remotely connect to a branch office and do the power cycling locally and the management locally of that device. So why do our customers pick SLC8000? Because it's simple to manage and deploy. It's incredibly secure. So we have customers like Global Missile Defense, Department of Homeland Security. We work with significant government agencies here in the UK, of which I won't name, but indeed we do. Some of our strongest customer base is in the financial service sector as well, because we're FIPS 2 and SHA-2 compliant, which means we are absolutely right for the level of forensic logging and diagnostic data to do that. We're reliable. Like I said, this company's been going for 30 years. We certainly wouldn't be going if we made low quality products. We've got great compatibility, and we've got a level of trust where people can look at our kit and understand that it just works. Very briefly, in the spirit of time, I'll talk about Console Flow. Console Flow is a software that Lantronix have developed to sit on top of SLC 8000 and SLB. It was voted a cool new product by CRN at Cisco Live last year, which was a kind of glowing endorsement. And what Console Flow really does is it's an on-premise and cloud-based management platform. So with a single pane of glass, you can centralize management of all of your SLC 8000s or SLBs and everything connected to that equipment. It does automated monitoring. It aggregates all of the data together. So very quickly, for example, if you're experiencing a problem in, I don't know, a Reading data center or something like that, you could quickly do a Google type search into Console Flow, bring up everything that was in Reading, be able to bring up certain flavors of kit like Nexus 5000 or 7000 or Catalyst or whatever, and just do a search and bring things up very quickly. It automates any problems. So Lantronix also support a protocol called Cisco's IP SLA. IP SLA is important because it manages the bandwidth and the network uplink, ensuring that you've got the right level of connectivity through the whole time. So we can actually, using IP SLA, alert you to a problem if you've dedicated a certain bandwidth to an uplink and you're not getting that bandwidth, and then we can actually automate a response to go with that. All of this runs off of industry standard APIs, so we can integrate into existing management applications that you have. And there's even a sort of mobile phone app where you're not able to make any changes, of course, but certainly you're able to see the notifications and alerting from your estate. And so bottom line, the Console Flow difference, because of course there are other console manager providers out there and other software products out there. The reality is Lantronix is the very first to market with a cloud-based solution. And it's important because, particularly in distributed environments, other folks' software uses sort of SSH and has difficulty traversing firewalls. Or in the example of a branch office, if a branch office downloads a window patch or something like that and it falls off, and the kit at the edge falls off of a VPN, you will no longer be able to manage that equipment because, quite simply, you won't be able to see it. It's fallen off of the VPN and you can't see it any longer. So Console Flow is the only software that uses web-based tunneled over WebSockets to traverse firewalls. What that also means is it really doesn't matter whether you've got a VPN or not. Console Flow, either on an on-premise cloud or a public cloud, you will be able to see all of your equipment, whether it's on or off a VPN, whether it's behind a firewall or not. You'll be able to remotely connect, monitor, and manage your most mission-critical kit, and in the event of a problem, be able to manage that problem effectively by triaging what the issue is and being able to fix very quickly what is going on, all from a central point without needing to put anyone in a van to drive anywhere or to speak to non-technical staff to try and get them to resolve technical problems. And with that, Steve, in the interest of time, very happy to hand it back to you.
Okay, well, look, thanks. I'll sort of, I think the only one really I thought that was quite relevant, obviously, the customer that you've got, because my sort of experience of working with you and everyone at Lantronix, that you're probably like the industry's best kept secret and what you do. And
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
And it's good to see that, you've got, there's some good referenceability there across all sectors as well. I think, that's very much like us. We're not aligned to one particular vertical sector. You can say, well, we're horizontally aligned as a business. You're very much the same on the use case that you've got out there. So that's, I think that's important to sort of underpin what we've talked about. Even though you're sort of say industry best kept secret, you're very much tried and tested, and that's why we felt partnering with Lantronix is something that we believe can deliver sort of difference. So okay, well look, we'll go on to the Q&A. So thanks very much for that, Alex. I'll bring you back into the Q&As now. Obviously, we can't forget today's Red Nose Day, can we? So what Servium's prepared to do for every question that gets asked, we'll donate £5 to Red Nose Day. So the more questions, good questions that are relevant to today, then we will donate £5 to Comic Relief. So we've got some questions already.
So
yeah, go on, Alex.
In the spirit of fair play, Steve, I think if you're donating £5 for questions, I think Lantronix could match your donation.
Yeah,
£10 a question between us.
Yeah, okay, great. There's one question that was asked by Adrian, and you actually answered it during the presentation, so I think we'll count that. But Adrian asked, I presume it works with all other networking kit besides Cisco. So
yeah, absolutely, it does. Yeah,
we'll allow that, Adrian, because it's only fair that you asked it. Yep. Alex kindly answered it during the presentation. So that's number one. A question from Simon in relation to you talked about the PDU so the integrated PDU. Can you just expand a little bit more on that, Alex?
Yeah, sure. So can you go back a couple of slides? I've put something in the backup deck on remote power management,
okay.
Steve. You have to go.
Oh. Yeah, no problem. That one there.
Hang on, I'm just catching up.
Yeah.
It says remote. There we go. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you know, with our SLB, it has an integrated PDU. With SLC, what we do is we connect to the PDU, and we have a feature called remote power management, which has support for hundreds and hundreds of PDU and UPS vendors, and we simply manage it via SMP, serial port network, and USB connections. So we can do sort of remote power cycling, but also we can do, it's all very well being able to fix a problem if somebody is doing something, but we also have another feature called like an automated response, where if we can see that a router or something like that has been unresponsive for a period of time, we can even do a remote power cycle, because we just run a simple automated script which says if it's unresponsive and haven't been able to do anything with that router for, 2 minutes or something like that, simply alert it, log it, pull the syslog, but in the meantime, we process an event trigger, and we would then automatically power cycle that router and bring it back up online. So not only can you remotely connect, monitor, and manage the gear, we also look for automated ways that we can do preventative stuff as well.
Okay, that's cool. Well, just in relation to that one from Mark about the integrated PDUs, is that applies across the SLCs and the SLBs? Yeah, so that's everything.
No, negative. The integrated PDUs, it's a very much for like a branch office use case.
Right.
So that the integrated PDUs are just for the SLB. The SLC, whilst it doesn't have any integrated PDU, it does have the capability through remote power management to do that power cycling and to do that automated work. But of course, within a data center environment, you want it to scale and not be a 3 or 4U very lumpy piece of kit. And so we just connect to your existing PDU or UPS infrastructure.
Okay. Great, thanks. We've got a question from Alan in relation to mobile app access for console flow. Is that possible?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. There's the saying goes, there's an app for that. So right. The app's on the App Store and the Android one, which I don't know the name of that store. But yeah, there's 2 different flavors of it, and essentially what that enables you to do is enables you to see what's going on and to be able to have alerts directly onto a mobile device. Quite rightly, you're not able to make any changes via a mobile application, which could potentially be insecure at times for mission critical infrastructure. So you can't make any changes, significant changes on the app, but certainly as a reporting tool, as a dashboard to be able to see what's going on in real time, yeah, absolutely. There's an app for that. Okay,
good. That's always good to hear. One from Russell in relation to any form of automation around the product set.
Yeah, as I've just sort of said then, really, we offer automated response with our products. So in layman's terms, which is I think appropriate for my level, it just means that we're able to track anything that is going on with the networking device, and then we just run a simple script, which again is completely customizable and configurable by the customer, that says if this happens, do that. So it could be if the router hangs and is unresponsive for 2 minutes, then pull the logs, report the problem, and reboot the router. So it could be something as simple as that. But yeah, absolutely, that we have levels of automation which mean that it's a more elegant solution and not just one that you have to put a lot of work into yourself. It works on your behalf.
Okay, that's good. So there's a couple of questions that aren't relevant, but I will answer them. One from Adrian. The answer, I believe, is European. And for Jason, I think it was 1959. So there's a couple of questions come through there that aren't relevant to this, that don't really count towards Red Nose Day, but I've made a point of answering for them. Question from Phil. What is the licensing model? Is it per device, per box? How does the licensing work, Alex?
So there's 2 different elements of the licensing. The cloud-based model, public cloud, is you buy a license. I think it's around. You buy it on an annual per managed device basis. So there's a nominal fee if you want to connect, say, 48 managed devices into an SLC 8000, which has 48 ports of RS-232, RJ45, or USB. Then you'd buy 48 annual licenses for those managed devices. Or in the example of a private on-premise solution, you buy the managed devices in blocks of 500. So simple answer is, if it's an on-premise, you buy the software in blocks of 500 managed devices. For public cloud, you can actually buy an annual license for 1 managed device.
All right, cool. Well, that's great. That's so far 7 questions, but there's some questions that a couple of people asked around proof of concept. So that sort of leads nicely into what we've got on offer, sort of call to action here, Alex. So, do you want to just sort of tell everyone about what we're going to do around a proof of concept?
Yeah, in the spirit of Red Nose Day, Steve and I were talking just this morning, and I've said that any proof of concepts that come as a direct response to this webinar, Lantronix will chip in another £25 per proof of concept for Red Nose Day. But as it goes with proof of concepts, we've partnered up with Servium. We offer a 30-day proof of concept. You can have it for longer if you want. 30 days just happens to be our standard terms. And we'll work with Servium to have somebody come to your own customer sites, if you wish, to install that particular unit, to go through the features of that unit, to install console flow software so you can take a look. Clearly, you don't have to. You can do all that stuff on your own. But as far as proof of concepts go, we've got the right people with the right expertise to offer you that sort of personal touch of getting it up and running and getting it out of the box. And also we've got any of the hardware that you would require. We can send that out to you as well. So
Sure.
we're just ready to impress you guys, I suppose.
Yeah.
And to show you what we do.
I'm going to launch a poll in a minute, and part of that is if you're interested in the free of charge proof of concept, then just indicate that in the poll. So what I'll do, I'll launch the poll now, just while I'm sort of summarising. So thanks for that and sort of offering that sort of that POC, and I think it's a great way of our customers being able to try the technology and prove it in their own environments, because it's great that you talk about some good references. It's how sort of innovative the Lantronix solution is, particularly modularity and so on and so forth. But that POC is absolutely key. And thanks for chipping in the 25 quid. So I think what we'll do as well. So we've had 7 questions. So we'll double it to £10 per question. So we'll chip in £70. You'll do your £35 plus the £25 per POC. So basically, we'll
say fairer than that, Steve.
Go on.
Can't say fairer than that. Good cause.
That's good. Yeah. So we'll double it. You do the POC. So we're sharing the love there for a good cause. So yeah, thanks very much, Alex. If there are any further questions, then by all means, get in touch with your account manager. Or drop myself an email. We'll do some sort of details on subject on social media around the Red Nose Day contributions that we've done collectively. So thanks, Alex, for your support on this. Thanks for your money as well. That's always much appreciated. Always going to a good cause. And really sort of summary close. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed that, found that useful today. Like I say, if you want the POC, just highlight that in the poll that's running now. Also, we'd like to get feedback from everyone who's attended today about how useful the webinar was and so on, just so we can fine tune it for future events. So, talking of future events, our next webinar is on the 29th of March, 2 weeks today. It's our grand finale for season 1 of our INOOT webinar series. Again, we're focusing on something that is quite topical at the moment. It's all around cloud and diversifying your cloud experience, particularly in multi-cloud environments, hybrid environments, whether you're utilizing AWS, Azure, Google, or even Alibaba. We've got a great partner. We're going to talk about a single pane of glass management platform for your on-prem, private, public cloud environment. So that's 29th of March. The registration details are on our webpage, and account manager will be sending out information either late today on Monday. So keep your eye out for that on the 29th of March. So Alex, I just want to thank you once again for your support. Despite the technical issues at the start, it shows that we're all human and we're not robots. So thanks very much, Alex. And to everyone else who's attended today, thanks for taking the time out. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thanks, everyone.